Old Fashioned Football and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code OFFSGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Hey, what's up? This is Sam Acho, and you're listening to Old Fashioned Football.
Old-fashioned football.
You make this deal right now, you pancake-eating mother.
All right, deal.
Old-fashioned football.
Welcome to Old Fashioned Football. If you're wondering who you listen to, this is J Mark. You can find me on the X at J Mark Football. And if you're wondering who us is, that's at Old Fashioned FB. Before I keep going to talk about Week 13, I got to bring in my co-host on the pod and in life. You can find her on the X at the Mark. How you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing good. Won some matchups that I didn't think I was going to. Lost some that I didn't think I was going to. Congratulations to RD. He's going to say this is a jinx by me saying it because the game is not done yet. But congratulations to RD for notching me another loss in the 101. Not been easy this year. It's only my second loss. I have been killing it in that league. How did you do fantasy football wise? You have a good week?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
I don't know. I'm nervous about Scott Fish. I mean, I'm winning the match, but I have to have a certain amount of points for the playoffs for this because I don't know. The playoffs in that league still kind of it's complicated.
Yeah, so there's a number you have to hit for total points. But what it does is it takes your average for the year so far, and then it takes that average, and then it adds what you scored today and divides by 2. And you have to be over, I think it was like 187 or 188, somewhere around there. I can't remember for sure.
But I'm just under that average.
You needed I remember you needed a higher score than what your year average was.
Yeah, well, I have Zay Flowers playing tonight, so I need him to have a huge game. I am right now sitting at projected with him with what he's projected at 188, which I need 2 more points.
Yeah,
I need to finish with 190, I think is what the number.
See, I need Lamar to have a bad game, so I don't know if I can root for you.
You have to root for me.
Do I?
In this league, you do.
In that league,
we're not even in it together. Like we're in separate leagues.
I am rooting for you, and I'm vicariously living the Scott Fishbowl playoffs through your team since mine did not make it. So it's Week 13. Speaking of playoffs, they're in most of your leagues are right around the corner. Usually Week 17 is your championship, unless it's Week 18, and then slap your commissioner in the face and tell them never again.
You heard it here.
Yeah, never again. And when you slap them and they go, why was that? You say J Mark told you to.
Because in that week, you might not have your starter. Like your teams might not be playing their starters if they're already they're resting them for the playoffs. And that's going to just really mess with your fantasy team if you go to Week 18.
Yeah, absolutely. So depending on your format, though, starting soon, for example, I think it's the league we've ran the longest. We just call it the Mark League.
The
OG, yeah, fantasy football league that we've been running. Playoffs start in Week 15, so we got 2 weeks to make our playoff push. It does look like I am going to win. Thank you, Squam Barkley, in that one, and kind of solidify, maybe pop it into the playoffs. It's been an up and down year for me in that one, but we hope we can help you make your playoff push with waivers or start sits. Reminder that we won't do a show Thursday. It's Thanksgiving. And Wednesday we're traveling for Thanksgiving. So ask your start sit questions via Twitter, or we now have Blue Sky or Instagram, any of those.
All of them. All the social medias. Yeah. We're trying to stay on top of them.
And we will, we'll get answers and we'll get some best bets out too, because Thanksgiving, that means there's 3 games.
3 games. There's a game on Friday.
Yeah, so 4 games before Sunday even hits.
Mhm.
Do you remember the Thanksgiving games? There's 3 of them, and it starts with us, the
Yeah.
Bears.
Yeah, we're the first game.
Yeah,
Bears, Lions,
yeah.
Giants and Cowboys. Yeah.
Cowboys.
I was second guessing myself for a second. No, Giants and Cowboys, and then Dolphins and Packers for the night game.
Yeah. So, and then Friday's Raiders Chiefs,
Mhm.
which will be interesting. So you got to make sure your lineups are set before you hit your like turkey coma before the tryptophan.
Get your lineup set that morning.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving coffee. Set your lineups.
Exactly. We had a staff meeting, I guess, for SGPN, and they asked for some good holiday themed whiskeys or just whiskeys to bring for the holidays. And one of them I kept going back to, even though it's more of a Christmas one, Savage and Cook's Bad Sweater,
Mhm.
and make your sweater weather
it's such
old
like
fashioned.
a spiced whiskey. It's so good.
Yeah.
But I've been asked a lot lately, and I almost feel like this might be a repeat of something I've said in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
But asked for go-tos because we obviously have some favorites from distillers we've had on the show, from whiskeys we've reviewed on the show, but not all of the whiskeys I'm partial to or that you're partial to. You can just get anywhere.
Yeah.
So a go-to, I just gave this out like last week. We had somebody asked me like, what would you go pick up? And I told him Angel's Envy for the price point.
Yeah.
It's a really good.
It is a good go-to and something everybody can find for sure. Yeah, I agree with that. Angel's Envy is solid. I mean, for me, one of my most grabbed whiskeys of like common whiskeys.
You're gonna say Evan Williams Bottled and Bond.
Yeah, it's for $20 for a bottle. It is hard to beat, in my opinion. So let's shout out the chat real quick. Jamie checking in saying, "Hey, what's up, Jamie? Glad you can join us." Josiah says, "Yo, McConkey's getting 20 points, and I'm getting the win." J Mark, we'll see about that. R Mark's not too worried about the playoffs. I have a couple leagues like that. And Jamie says, all social media, can we find you on Tinder?
Well, we're off of
social media dating
so
sites.
Maybe I shouldn't say all.
Yes, not all.
Not all. But not even most then. I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. We're not doing it.
Just your Twitter, your sports social medias. We'll leave it at that. I think that covers it.
No, because I'm sure there's something out there that we're not in the know of. That is
sportsfanfinder.com. And if not, we're going to create it and make a bunch of money. So I don't even know what
I was just going to say,
is.
what is J-Date? Maybe don't tell us.
We've been out of the dating game for a while, so not
a couple of years.
Just a couple. Yeah, I don't even know when we started dating. Did they have those types of sites and stuff? Was Tinder a thing?
I don't know.
It was nothing I ever partook in, so I don't know if it was a thing.
No.
But
well, 2010. I don't know. I met you in 2009.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. And J-Date is Jewish dating. So shalom. Speaking of whiskey, which you were just talking about.
Yes.
What are we drinking today?
We are drinking Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel. We've heard a lot about this one from some of you, actually. So we're excited to give it a try.
Yeah.
And because we're not doing a Thursday show this week, you went ahead. This is like the old days when we used to do whiskey before we split it up.
Yeah.
We do the old fashioned during the show, and towards the end, review the actual whiskey. Neat. So yeah, you made a good old fashioned.
I thought it was pretty good. Maybe it's the whiskey, maybe it's me, maybe it's a little of both. I don't know, but my ice cube is definitely a little too big for this glass. I used my big.
You went with the goblets again.
I did. They're nice. They're heavy duty.
Them. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I got I'm sure you can see it there. That big ball in there is sticking up, and so every time I take a drink, it's like freezing my lip. Real quick before we keep going, in honor of Thanksgiving, we're running a massive merch sale Thursday through Sunday this week. Everything is 25% off with the promo code Black Friday. No spaces, all one word, I believe. Black Friday. 25% off everything, including old-fashioned football t-shirts.
Well, I was going to say, it's the perfect time to go get some old-fashioned football swag.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a shit ton of colors to choose from.
We've got shirts, we've got hoodies, we've got hats.
Yeah. Maybe I need to get myself another hoodie. I only have the one. I think I could use another one. And 25% off, can't beat that. So yeah, just go to sg.pn/store or go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com. You'll find the link to the store. Promo code Black Friday, 25% off. I'm there for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Serial pointing out, and I want to bring this up anyways, J-Mart going to need a drink when he remains winless against me. It's going to be a very close finish, but this is in our listener league that is the Savage and Cook League, and it's the Pirate League.
Yes.
I won against
you had your first win.
I had my first win finally against Rod.
But it wasn't a win.
I stole Patrick Mahomes. And then and even the next day, it still said I had a win. I think 2 days later, it still, but somewhere along the line, there was a stat correction that put him above me by 0.2 points.
So you have to watch for those because
especially in
I can't believe how many days it took for that
leagues.
stat correction. But yeah, in a league like that, we're Pirate. So I don't think you even needed to do the poll in our league, but you did it anyway.
Yeah,
I think you should have just made the correction. But I think I even voted for you making the correction. You absolutely did not win.
No.
After those stat corrections.
So what I did was I sent Patrick Mahomes back to Rod, put him in his starting lineup for him. I did check with him first. I assumed he wanted him in there instead of Brandon Allen.
Yeah.
But I thought I would check. Do you want him in your starting lineup? Yes, I do. Thank you for asking.
Did he steal from you then?
Oh, he didn't. So he could have technically stole from me.
Yeah, I think you have to give him the option.
I don't think we even covered that.
Oh.
But anyways, what if that happened in your guillotine leagues? You wouldn't even know if it was a very close matchup and you lost by 1 point.
Not to call out Cody, but Cody is the commish.
Boom.
And Monday night, as soon as the game is over, he is axing whoever is the lowest score.
Yeah.
What if there was a correction? You wouldn't know because he he gives you the boot.
Yeah. It's funny. As soon as the game ends, my phone starts going.
50 notifications.
All the players that Cody's dropping from the team that lost.
Oh my gosh. I never thought about that. And in a guillotine, I think it probably wouldn't make a difference if you lost by like 5 points or more.
Right. But if it was a
close one, ooh.
That's
we'll never know.
We will never know. Nick pointing out that you did the stat correction, by the way. And Serial saying that he wanted Keenan Allen since I had Keenan Allen and he had such a good game. Sure he did. Should we cover this injury report real quick? It's not very long. That's what she said.
Yeah, I've got I'll take it.
You take care of it. I just wanted to say most teams did not practice today. They just did a walkthrough. And so any injury report we're getting is just very like, oh, this guy might not have practiced today. Not very solid. So these are just the ones that we for sure know could affect you.
Yes. If this guy affects you, I'm sorry. Gardner Minshew.
I have this guy in a super flex as my second quarterback.
I'm sorry. But Minshew broke his collarbone. He's out for the season. Aiden O'Connell is expected back. And they also have Desmond Ridder.
Yes. Now, in the league that I do have Gardner Minshew, I was smart enough to also draft Aiden O'Connell.
Okay. Well, there you go.
I got them both at least.
Then Josh Downs is considered a long shot to play this coming weekend with his shoulder injury.
Yeah.
And then Browns wide receiver Cedric Tillman, Commanders running back Austin Eckler, both in concussion protocol.
Yeah. And we're going to touch on that a little bit later, but spoiler alert, Jeremy McNichols, if both those miss a game, he's going to be the next man up. Could have a good game. So just keep an eye on that. Excuse me. Miranda, before we keep going, should we talk a little Underdog Fantasy?
Absolutely.
All right, let everybody know about it.
We're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, and Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports. We're talking NFL, college football, MLB, MMA, WNBA, NASCAR, and more. Their lobby is jam-packed with profit boosts, and you can now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. We are going to give out our picks pretty soon here, but in the meantime, go sign up with promo code OFFSGPN to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code OFFSGPN.
All right, we are back. The dog the dog always comes in the room. It's actually pretty cute because we say it's podcast time and she knows to come into this room to get up onto the bed. We've been here 15 minutes or less, and she's snoring already. So
she's had a hard day.
A rough day of laying around and whatnot. Conscious Machine saying, I love being up 54 with opponent having only a defense left. Let's fucking go. That's awesome.
Yes.
I'm curious, did you have Saquon Barkley? Because Saquon had a hell of a day.
Oh my gosh.
A hell of a day. And that kind of brings us up to the next section here of studs and duds.
Yeah.
Do you want to give out all the studs?
I will. I'm going to switch this up and start with running back since we're mentioning Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
And he is my running back stud this week. He was only projected 17.2, only 17.2, but he finished with 44 points, or I guess depending on your league settings, more, because I know, we personally have some league settings where you get bonuses for 50+ yard touchdowns, which he had 3 of.
Yes.
So his score could have, in some leagues, range at like up to 60 points in those types of leagues. So it's just, he had a crazy game.
He did. The first running back with 255 yards and rushing yards in over 15 years.
Yes.
And Conscious Machine saying he had Gibbs, Nico, Kittle, Sutton. Good lineup. A good day for you.
So we'll backtrack to quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm glad I get to put this guy here. Caleb Williams was only projected 12.9. He finished with 26.9. And I know the Bears, I know we're not winning a lot of games, but he did throw for 340 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he ran for 33 yards. He's playing really well. He's looking really good.
Oh yeah.
It's like a flop. At the beginning of the season, our defense was like doing everything for us. Our offense was just complete crap. And now our offense is getting it. we're looking decent.
Yep.
And the defense is just letting the Bears down right now.
Yeah.
But
Williams had some Mahomes like throws, like the one where he was rolling to the right and just flicked it to Swift. Oh yeah. As a Bears fan who's not seen a lot of good quarterback play on our team, it was just like, holy shit.
Yes. And just to kind of add to it, like Williams, he now holds the record for the most passing yards by a rookie for Chicago.
Yeah. Which didn't take a lot, but he's got it.
he locked it in.
Our offense has been a lot different since we put Thomas Brown in, fired Shane Waldron. It's been interesting.
Looking at my wide receiver stud, we're going to look at that same game for Bears and the Vikings. Yeah.
I know where you're going.
Jordan Addison, because like the Bears they couldn't stop him. He was only projected 9 points. He finished with 26.2 after having 162 receiving yards on 8 catches, and he also had that touchdown as well.
Yeah. Blown coverage after blown coverage against him.
Yes. And then tight end stud. This one is painful for me.
Big sigh.
I know. We got Noah Gray, who is Travis Kelce's backup.
Yeah.
He was only projected 3.7. We probably did not start this guy. He finished with 20.6 points after having 4 catches for 66 yards and not 1, but 2 touchdowns. Just for the record, Travis Kelce only had 9.2 points.
Yeah.
And just disgusting.
It is disgusting. Shout out to the chat real quick before we go over the duds. Concha saying, I'm the 4th seed, but I drafted MHJ over Saquon. Yes, Saquon owner is number 1. I did beat him for his first loss. Now I play him in 13. Well, maybe he's tired after after running for 255 yards. So maybe he won't have as good a game. Ciro saying, are we not sure that Travis Kelce is not his backup? Okay, so you'll know this better than me, but there's a scene in Talladega Nights where Will Ferrell
I will know this better than
Will
you.
Ferrell comes like home. And John C. Reilly is now with his wife or something, or his girlfriend, something like that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so, yeah.
I saw a thing where it showed it like Will Ferrell was coming home and it showed Travis Kelce's name above him. And Noah Gray was there with Taylor Swift, his wife, saying like, oh, yeah, we're together now and everything. And so, yeah, Cyril, maybe Noah Gray's tight end 1 there.
Yeah. But no, I was like, when I saw those stats and just seeing all of that, and Travis Kelce just getting nothing. Is he the new Travis Kelce for the Chiefs? Is Travis Kelce done?
I said at the beginning of the year, I thought he was done.
It's just hard to let go of that rush of how good he is, even though he had not the most impressive season last season. In the playoffs, he looked amazing in peak form.
Now, Trav has had some good games.
He absolutely
recently.
has.
Not the past 2 weeks, but in a half PPR, he had 3 weeks where he went 20, 15, 16.4.
Which I was like, yes, he's back.
Yeah, he is the 5th ranked right now.
Which is not hard to do.
But Noah Gray is the 16th ranked. He's creeping up on him. Let's go over these duds real quick. Kyler Murray at quarterback projected 19.2, finished with 10.3. His fantasy value has always been kind of around his rushing ability, and he's not running as much. He only ran for 9 yards, threw for 285 and 2 interceptions. Another dud, CMC, projected 18, finished with 6.3. No Brock Purdy, no Trent Williams. This offense struggled to find pace. CMC only had 31 rushing yards, 37 receiving yards, and he also fumbled the ball. Wide receiver dud, you talked about Jordan Addison being the stud. Well, their wide receiver 1, Justin Jefferson, was the dud, projected 15.1. The Bears defense at least did a good job stopping him. He only had 3.7 fantasy points, 2 catches, 27 yards. And then tight end dud, I'm sure this hurt you. I know it hurt me. We both have. Oh, it did not. I remember now this conversation. You told me how you started somebody over him. Kate Otten. The Giants aren't doing much right, but shout out to them. They are stopping tight ends. On a day that the Bucs blew them out 30-7, he was projected 9.4, only finished with 3.5.
I analyzed the shit out of that matchup before I decided to bench him in many leagues.
I thought you were going to say you analyzed the shit out of the tight ends.
Well, that too. Trying to figure out who to start. But no, it pained me because, he's been a stud and you start your studs, but sometimes the matchups matter. Like they really do matter, Yeah,
Josiah pointing out he would have beat me if Otten did better. I'm sure I would have for sure beat you by 200 if Jaden Daniels had scored 200 points. So there is that. Miranda, should we talk a little Sir Throws a Lot?
Let's do it.
All right.
This is Jim Miller, former Chicago Bears quarterback, and now it's time for Sir Throws a Lot.
We do this every week. If you haven't joined us before, it's just whoever threw the ball the most times. Last week, for the second time in a row, it was Joe Burrow throwing for 50 times. Miranda, who's this week's Sir Throws a Lot?
For the second time this year, our Sir Throws a Lot was Caleb Williams.
Nice.
Because he threw the ball for 47 times, completing 32 of those passes for 340 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he finished with a 103.2 quarterback passer rating.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. He threw the most attempts and the most yards this weekend.
Nice. Well, I wish we would have won the game.
I know.
It was
definitely
exciting. Right. It was definitely an exciting game.
It was going into overtime. And I was just like, and then we just.
Yeah.
Bent over.
Speaking of that, Serial says, leave it to you to focus heavy on the tight ends.
It's an important position.
Should we give out our Underdog Fantasy lineups? I know you brought Underdog up a little bit ago. We give lineups out every episode. And so, yeah, let's start Monday night's lineup with yours.
All righty. All right. I have, sorry about that. And again. I'm taking Lamar Jackson higher than 30.5 passing attempts. He's thrown for 33 in the past 2 games, and this Chargers defense is going to be tough for them to run the ball on consistently. I've also got Ladd McConkey, longest reception, higher than 23.5. I'll talk more about this one in my best bets section, so a little spoiler alert there, but trust me, it's a good one. Then I'm going to take Mark Andrews higher than 31.5 receiving yards. He's gone over this in 5 of the last 7 games. I'm taking Will Dissly higher than 8.25 fantasy points. Dissly has been getting involved in this offense, and I think the Chargers will move the ball in the air due to Baltimore's poor pass defense. I also think Dissly is due for a touchdown this week, making the 8.25 fantasy points an easy hit. And for my last one, I've got Justin Herbert higher than 264.5 passing yards. He's hit this in 4 of the last 5 games, and the Ravens, despite limiting the Steelers last week, are still last in the league in passing yards allowed.
I like it.
I'm not done, mister.
Not done.
$10 pays you $125.30. If you do a flex entry and hit all of them, you'll get 6260. And if you only hit 4 of the 5, you'll get 1560.
All right. May I proceed
Yes,
now?
now you
Sorry.
can. Click happy.
I know. For my lineup, I think Justin Herbert's going to have a good day. 1.5 passing touchdowns higher. Quentin Johnston, who, shout out to them for kind of reviving his career a little bit. I know it was just a bad rookie year, but he looked terrible. I thought he was going to end up on the streets. Higher than 48.5 receiving yards. Mark Andrews, higher than 3.5 receptions. And then I got both kickers just higher than 1.5 field goals made. I do think this is going to be more of a defensive game. It is brother versus brother for coaching. Jim and John face off against each other. $10 pays you $204.30. Or if you do a flex entry, all of them get you $102.10 and 4 get you $27.70, since I had a couple that were juiced there. And before we keep going, I want to let you know that we're brought to you by MyBookie. SGPN started out with MyBookie, and now we're back. Check out the new and improved website. Great on mobile, plus props for every game and the live dealer casino. Even new early cash out options. Murr, who do you think's going to win tonight? Ravens or Chargers? If you had to flip a coin and pick one, who you picking?
I'm picking Ravens.
Ravens, you can get them for -155 on the money line over at MyBookie. Just head over to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. Let's go play some blackjack. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Have you ever wanted to create your own sports betting model for football? Do you even know what a sports betting model is? SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platforms that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or press build a model for me, and Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop, and also has a myriad of stats, research, and trends analysis to give you even more betting insights. They are all over Mark Andrews receptions tonight. Just claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right. We are back. Sometimes I feel like when I'm doing that one, I'm going to kind of take off. Do you get that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it a wild ride? Sit next to me for that. Sometimes you look like you're getting exhausted. Shout out to the chat. Cyril saying Disley first touchdown. I thought it was about time too. And Conscious Machine, CMC is washed. Mason will finish the season. That's a spicy take.
That is.
I like it. I do think the 49ers, they might be cooked this year. I kind of have a feeling they're cooked. Their win total was an 11.5. If you bet the under for that, cha-ching, there's no way they can get 11.5 wins. So they've fallen far from kind of dominating from last year. Should we get to our waivers?
Yeah, and just I can't even think of the word I'm looking for. Just to let people know, like, these waivers, if you're looking for waivers right now, you're looking for serious help.
Yeah.
We're just giving you guys who are gonna put up points for you. They're not gonna put up big points, but it's better than a whopping 0, a goose egg in your lineup.
I kind of talked to Cody Zeeb about this because waivers have been a little tricky this year. And he pointed out, I guess I didn't think about it, there's not been a lot of major injuries. And it seems like every week we have a starter. Last year, every week a starter would go down.
Been keeping track of this, how many quarterbacks have started this season?
It's way low.
Well, didn't I take we did a bet.
You took the under.
I took the under.
Think. Yeah. We'll have to revisit that
we
episode.
have to revisit our bets at the beginning of the season at the end, and I'm winning that one. Because last season it was 64, 66,
something like that.
Quarterbacks.
All those bets are written on random notes that some get piled somewhere in my office here. I don't know where they are, but we'll figure it out.
We all know that I'm the organized one of the two of us.
Yes,
especially and your office,
football notes.
Your office, which doubles as a spare bedroom. It's just so I've organized and reorganized your office for you sometimes, and it disappoints me how unorganized it becomes.
Well, welcome to a life of disappointment. My desk is going to be a mess always.
I can't handle that. How do you use it not distract you? To see just mess. How does that not bother you?
I'm a man, I guess. I'm a man.
That's what I know. There are organized and clean men out there.
Yeah. Anyways, go on.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm going to kick us off with, okay, now that
Serial, by the way, saying that I probably put that in the trash by mistake as
yeah,
well.
probably.
Yeah, I'll find
all
the bets I
that
lost.
I'm winning.
Yeah, no, I can't find them. Sorry.
Okay. So for quarterback, looking at the very limited options that are out there, take a look at Will Levis, who's only rostered in 4% of leagues. He's actually not looking too bad lately.
Kind of looking somewhat good.
Kind of. And this is the second game in a row that he's thrown for over 275 yards, and he's thrown 5 touchdowns combined in the last 3 games. He is still out there making stupid mistakes, but if
he did throw a pick 6.
if you're desperate, he could help you out.
Yeah. Mine reeks of even more desperation, especially you said at the beginning here, if you had Gardner Minshew and were relying on him, I'm sorry. We talked about that situation in Vegas already, Minshew being hurt. Keep an eye on who gets the start, though. I actually think Desmond Ridder, with a fresh start with this team, I think he could be okay for them. I thought he could do well. But they might, Aiden O'Connell's supposed to be back, so maybe they start him. Whichever they say is starting, keep in mind he is throwing to Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers, who are target machines and padding some stats. So if you're desperate in a super flex league, one of those guys, Desmond Ridder probably is for sure available. Aiden O'Connell, I'm not sure. But in your regular leagues, even for depth, those guys are out there. Not saying they're good options, but they are out there.
So my running back, you know that we're struggling on waivers. Like there's not a lot of options out there when we're getting back-to-back Raiders picks.
Oh, yeah. Sorry to your Uncle Paul, but yes.
So my running back, this is only if Alexander Madison and Zamir White continue to miss time, but in their place, Amir Abdullah, he is only rostered in about 20% of leagues. He did all right, having 28 rushing yards and 5 catches for 37 yards and a touchdown. He's going to continue to be involved, and there just aren't many options available in this position this time of year.
No, there really aren't. Speaking of not many, this is mainly, and that's mainly due to lack of injuries. This is mainly relying on injuries, this pickup. So keep an eye on what happens in Washington. Brian Robinson left the game with another leg injury. He did come back, but he was limited. So keep an eye on that. And Austin Eckler has a concussion, their other running back. If those linger, I kind of alluded to it in the when we talked injuries, Jeremy McNichols, he's going to be the next in line to start. This guy was a stud at Boise State. And if you don't know me, big Boise State fan, love he's no Ashton Genty, who is running for them now and setting all sorts of records. But Jeremy McNichols is a stud. He's got NFL snaps, and he had a game where he went for like 100 yards and 2 touchdowns when he got a start. So he could be an option for you.
All right. Looking at wide receiver, Noah Brown for Washington is rostered in only 10% of leagues, and he's getting more targets and is starting to fit in the offense. Nicely, opposite of Terry McLaurin. So this weekend, he was targeted 10 times and caught 6 of them for 71 yards. He has had 6 or more targets in 5 of the last 7 games, and he's only scored 1 touchdown during that time, which is limiting him for fantasy, but still it's slim pickings right now.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
don't know.
You got to chase targets. I feel like at this point in the season,
when you're breaking this down, like when you're looking at the waivers, you want somebody who's targeted, who has the opportunity to catch those targets,
right,
and get the yards that way.
Like I thought about Okonkwo had a really good game, and when I was looking at tight ends for waivers for my pick, I thought about throwing him in there, and then I looked, I was like, okay, he had 1 target. He happened to catch it for a 70-yard touchdown. But
you have to pay attention to
target.
That. And you have to make sure, like, it wasn't just a situational, like a matchup thing where the defense is well focusing and it's a fluke that he was open, those types of things.
So, if you get trade offers to get Chigoziem Okonkwo, and they're like, whoa, look at this great game he had. 1 target. 1 target is all he had. Yes, it happened to be a 70-yard catch for a touchdown, but that's not a lot of targets to chase. That limits their opportunities. Speaking of targets, this guy's kind of based on chasing targets as well. And I know we've talked about him before, but he's still rostered in less than 10% of leagues, and that's Devon Vele. I'm even looking at this guy for keeper potential. He's building a good rapport with Bo Nix, and he was targeted 9 times this weekend. He got 6 of those for 80 yards. I think he's a good pickup for the rest of the season. Bo Nix has this offense humming. And like I said, I really like him as a keeper. I've started kind of slowly acquiring him in keeper leagues as well, with the potential of like, maybe I want to look at this guy closer.
Real quick, before I talk about my tight end waiver, just a quick shout out to Insta, Adeline on the Instagram. So thank you for joining us.
How's it going?
All right. Ready for tight end?
I'm ready for your, never mind.
Oh,
just go.
My God. All right. I'm so... You're pushing your limit on things you're saying during the show.
Am I getting us canceled?
So I've got to talk about these Patriots tight ends.
Yes.
Okay. Because I have Hunter Henry as a backup in a couple leagues, and I've had to rely on him during bye weeks. And both in the couple different leagues I had him in that I had to rely on him, Austin Hooper took the workload.
Yeah.
Or took a chunk of it to where Hunter Henry was. What was the point?
Yeah.
So this week, while Hunter Henry, like, he had more catches, Austin Hooper, who is rostered in not even 1% of leagues, he had more yards. So yeah, I've been watching this guy because I've noticed in the 2 weeks that I had to play Hunter Henry, Hooper was getting workloads.
He's eating into it.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I remember when Hooper was relevant, like was a relevant fantasy football tight end on the Falcons.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's becoming somewhat relevant again, especially in the void of tight ends in fantasy football this year.
It has been quite the void.
Yes. So Hooper has 4 or more targets in 5 of the last 6 games. And this last weekend, he had 4 catches on 4 targets for 59 yards and a touchdown. Henry is still relevant, but Hooper he's getting looks and targets too. He's targeting both tight ends.
Yeah.
So I think if you're hurting in the tight end position going into playoffs, something happens, like you need somebody, I think you could pick up Hooper and you're at least going to get points. Because he's catching his targets.
Agreed.
So he's catching the targets and he's getting the yards. But I think in the big picture, like going into next season, if this offense stays the same, like a two tight end system does not do well for fantasy.
Unless, dare I say, they're the next Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez. Which one of them is killing somebody?
Oh my God.
The best Patriots tight end duo.
Sorry,
since
but you
Gronk
can't compare either of
Hernandez.
these two to Gronk. And no, these two are not in the same talent pool.
I agree.
So
I agree with that. First of all, R. Mark saying I inherited the messy trait. Yes, that's not my fault. See, it's genetics. And Serial saying more relevant, Hooper or Pitts. I still got to say Pitts because of his talent, but it seems like Hooper has been more consistent lately. So that kind of hurts to say, but it's true. While you're doing that, I'll talk about the tight end that I selected for waivers, I guess. Noah Gray. I mean, you already talked about him, rostered in 2% of leagues. He's had 2 games in a row with 2 touchdowns. That can't be a fluke. 1 game with 2 touchdowns, sure, fluke. 2 games, they're looking for him in the red zone, in the end zone there. Patrick Mahomes likes throwing it to him when they're inside the 20. Despite Travis Kelce being their top tight ends some days, we haven't seen him have the success we're used to, and Noah Gray has been a top 5 fantasy tight end the past 2 weeks. He's playing over 50% of the snaps for him, and they're keeping him involved when Travis is on the field. But I do think there's a little bit of Travis getting old. And I talked about it last year that at the end of the year, I said he was showing it a little bit. I think he is nearing his end. Now, whether Noah Gray's the guy that takes over fully for him and becomes the next Travis Kelce, I don't think so, but I do think he could be relevant. He's worth depth. I'm not saying start him because you don't know who's going to be If he gets another 2 touchdowns, I guess this next week, then keep starting him. But I don't think that's going to happen. But he will have depth for you if you need some tight end depth.
Yeah.
All right, back to Cyril's question. More relevant, Hooper or Pitts?
How about consistent?
Yeah, that's what I said. Pitts has the talent, but Hooper's more consistent.
Because I think absolutely like Pitts is going to give you he has the boom, he has a higher ceiling, but you don't know when you're going to get it.
Right.
And at least with Hooper right now, even if he just gets you 7 points, it's better than 1 or 2 points from Pitts because it's his off week.
Yeah.
But then you are going to miss out on his like 20-some point games.
Yeah. Yeah. He's more of like, I just feel like my voice went through puberty there.
Pitts is sitting at tight end 10 right now because of his boom games. Like he's not, no.
Who had him in their top?
The season's not even over. He has plenty of opportunity to fall out of it. Okay.
Or to keep going.
No.
Let's go.
Fall out. If he keeps putting up 2-point games, he's going to fall out of that.
Come on, Kirk O'Chains. Don't let me down. This was a bet we had too.
And like in comparison, like Hooper's at tight end 26, but the last 3 games, I mean, 15.9, 7.5, 9.4.
Yeah, Cyril saying good to hear J Mark put Pitts and Hooper in the same sentence. Yeah, the consistency right now has been Hooper. I mean, I can't deny that, but the talent is Pitts for sure. Pitts has got the talent. Hooper's getting old, anyways.
He is. I will argue against Pitts with anything. I will make an argument somehow.
That was also a bet we have. I know that one's right there. No, I'm just
kidding.
You
kept your bet up there.
I don't know where that one is. I'm kidding. Should we talk about, speaking of bets, let's talk about best bets tonight. We got the Chargers Ravens, Harbaugh v. Harbaugh, and we each picked a best bet and a first touchdown. I'll let you lead the way with the best bet.
All right. I think I just need to start calling this my longest reception bet.
You do seem to like those.
Because I'm going with that like always. And I'm going to take Lad McConkey over 23.5 yards. This is at -120 right now for the longest reception. He's had a catch longer than this in 3 of the last 4 games. And he seems to pop free for a big play once a game. He's also had a 20+ yard catch in 6 of the last 7 games, despite playing well against the Steelers last week. You've got to remember that this Ravens pass defense is not great.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. I don't want him to have a good game, but I will be fine with him having a 25-yard catch. Just one. Just one. That's all he gets. I did not like a ton in this game betting wise. I looked it over. It's just a weird game to try to decipher because I'm not sure how the game script is going to go. Both these teams are run first teams. They're both going against very good run defenses, right? So I ended up settling on Gus Edwards, 6.5 carries. That's at +110. He only had 6 last week, but he had 10 the week before. Chargers just didn't run the ball as much. I do think Jim Harbaugh is good at kind of mixing and matching what he needs to do, but I think they want to wear this defense down. And Gus is this more powerful runner than J.K. Dobbins. And I think giving him the ball in that 7 to 10 carry range is how you get a defense tired. And then you do your play action passes. So I like him to get more than 6.5 carries. It's +110. And let's go Gus Bus, I guess.
Gus Bus.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a slower paced game anyways. I'm looking for good defenses and a slow paced game. That's why I picked the 1.5 field goals higher on my Underdog Fantasy entry for both kickers.
Yeah, you had 2 kickers in there
that
did not slip past me.
And one of them, Dicker the kicker, and then Justin Tucker, who keeps missing them. So let's hope he at least doesn't miss 2 of them.
Yes.
He might be done. He's missed more field goals so far this year than he did all of last year. He's just on this bad cold streak. Maybe he can turn around. Maybe he'll go into opera singing because he's a very good opera singer. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
Yes, he's a very talented opera singer. Maybe not a talented field goal kicker anymore. We'll see. Should we talk first touchdowns?
Let's move on.
Before I keep derailing us.
You're doing a good job of it.
Thank you. It's my specialty.
So I'm going to go with Lamar for the first touchdown. I know that the Chargers have a good run defense, so I decided I wouldn't go chalk and take Henry.
Good. I'm tired of breathing that chalk.
I know it's all not dusty in here today. But I like them to get the first touchdown, and I think Lamar does it with his legs,
yeah,
instead of his arms.
I like it.
And this is at plus 1,200. And the Chargers are 18th in allowing rushing touchdowns to quarterbacks, despite them being a good run defense.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going to go the opposite side, though. I'm going the Chargers score first. And I was trying to pick one of the wide receivers. Maybe I didn't pick Ladd just because I'm playing against him, but I actually like Quentin Johnston to do this. I've been impressed with, like I said earlier, the small little bounce back he's had from his terrible rookie season. I really thought he was going to be playing in the UFL, which was announced today that they are expanding. They're looking for the markets and accepting bid proposals right now. Check out the UFL Gambling Podcast with Colby, CJ Sullivan, and myself. Anyways, Quentin, a little shameless plug in there. Why not? Quentin Johnston, he's plus 1,600 to score the first touchdown. Also, I don't mean to take a couple of others, but I don't mind sprinkling just a little bit on Joshua Palmer and, as Cyril said, Will Dissly. I kind of like that play. So yeah, let's see. Shout out to the chat here. Ladd is a dog, Cyril says, and likely over 1.5 receptions, hitting 5 of the last 6. Yeah, that's a good one too. It was weird how Isaiah Likely, he had that week 1 that it was like, holy shit, is Mark Andrews done? And Likely's the guy. And then since then, he's been a little bit quiet, but the past couple of weeks, he's really been kind of picking it up again. So that is interesting. Miranda?
Yes.
Why don't we talk a little bit of whiskey?
Okay.
I have a really neat photo here that we have.
Ooh.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Now, do you want to, while we review this,
I've got the
you want to do the write-up?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do the pouring and the tasting to start.
And we've done an Elijah Craig before, because when I was looking at this history, it's all like, oh, I've said these things before.
Yeah, we have just
which one? Just the regular?
Yeah. Yep.
It's been a while though.
It has been.
I think that was like we did that within the first year. At some point we need to start trying ones we've tried before again.
Yeah.
Now that we have a different whiskey palette than we did back then.
Very different.
And we have a lot more, like, we have newer listeners, and they probably want to know about those OG whiskeys we did.
Yeah, and now we got we're doing it live now. We didn't start live, and we have a just whiskey section on our YouTube. So for those whiskey lovers, they can just go check that out. And yeah, I think it'd be good
did
to
some
recycle some
really,
of these old
not that
ones.
we're doing bad whiskeys now, but we had some very good whiskeys that we did within our first year.
Yeah,
back in the day.
For the whiskey lovers, stay tuned because we got something in the works with another distillery, a distiller interview that we're really excited about. Those are always a lot of fun. Hearing the different backgrounds and what they do differently, things like that.
And
so
I'm not gonna spoiler alert it or anything, but it's in a
nothing's set in
region
stone.
that I like. Like I'm to the point in my palate where I like regions, whiskey from certain regions, and this is a region that
you do like.
I know.
Yes. Serial asking, is it almost dank month yet? So the dank and dry is a lot of people do dry January. I guess they party too hard on New Year's Eve. They do dry January. We won't do dry January, but we can revisit the dank and dry old fashioned from Whistle Pig.
That the Kramer sent us.
Yeah.
All right. So, like I said earlier, we're drinking Elijah Craig toasted whiskey today. And before we talk about this whiskey specifically, we're going to dive into Elijah Craig a little bit. And if you were with us back when we just tried their, would have just been their bourbon.
Yeah, just their.
Then you've heard this before.
Maybe, but yeah.
But Elijah Craig is made at the Heaven Hill Distillery, which we have talked about them multiple times as well, because they have a pretty big lineup of whiskeys that they distill.
Yes.
And Elijah Craig is named for Reverend Elijah Craig. He was a Baptist preacher, an educator, and an entrepreneur. He was the first person to build paper and wool mills in Georgetown, Kentucky. And, he was also a distiller and an innovator. And a critical component of the history of Elijah Craig is the contributions to bourbon that was made by slaves. Elijah Craig had slaves and relied on them to run his distilling operations. So the Elijah Craig brand and Heaven Hill Distillery focus on uncovering the identities and the roles of those laborers and how they contributed to the birth of the bourbon industry and the legacy that was left behind for their families. And I feel like we see this in a lot of I shouldn't say a lot, but in many of the Kentucky bourbons.
Yeah, I mean, it always reminds me also of Uncle Nearest.
Yes.
And how Nearest Green taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey. Like,
and
that's
that
a
it's
forgotten
not
part of history.
it is a
that's coming
forgotten
back.
part. Yes. That is exactly where I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Uncle Nearest. They were our very first distiller. No,
second or third.
Oh, it was it second? Maybe it was
Yes.
second.
Dylan Carney.
Was
our
it Savage
very
and Cook?
first,
I wanted to
yes.
say Savage and Cook, but
Yes.
not to derail us here. But then I thought, no, because I thought we interviewed her.
No, he was our first.
Then we did her
interview.
really closely after.
Yeah, the week after.
Mhm.
He was the same. We interviewed him the same day we talked with Sam
I
Macho,
know. It was back to back interviews. It was a lot.
which was great because
it was fun.
talking with somebody like Sam Macho,
Mm-hmm.
you get your nerves out of the way. And so then when you're talking about distillers, you're like, oh my gosh, I just talked to this former professional athlete that I used to watch play on the field, and you don't get as nervous, even though the distillers are really
Yes.
cool as well. That's not
Yes.
taking away anything from the distillers. It relaxed me anyways a
Mhm.
lot.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to Elijah Craig and how Heaven Hill Distillery, focusing on uncovering those identities and roles. They also they actively engage in academic research within the University of Kentucky's Commonwealth Institute for Black Studies and Central Kentucky Slavery Initiative, as well as others, to share a more transparent and inclusive account of bourbon's past and history. So going back again to Elijah Craig, back in 1789, he became the first distiller to age whiskey in new charred oak barrels. Some have claimed that an accidental fire charred his barrels and changed the whiskey on the inside. Others say that, he stored his whiskey in former sugar barrels and liked how the charring improved the flavor. But either way, Elijah Craig continued to refine the barrel charring process because of this, and 250 years later, Elijah Craig is still called the father of bourbon.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah.
And then, so from small batch bourbons to their first ever rye whiskey, the master of distillers of Elijah Craig are, committed to honoring his innovative spirit. So just to give you guys a list of some of the Elijah Craig whiskeys that are out there, they have their small batch bourbon. They have a straight rye. We did the small batch bourbon.
Yep.
They have a straight rye, the toasted rye, the barrel proof, 18-year-old bourbon. And what we're drinking today is the toasted barrel bourbon. And this is a twice barreled expression. After fully maturing, they finish it in a second custom toasted barrel to add an extra layer of complexity. And it won gold at both the International Spirits Challenge and the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Now, we're not going to give you the sites what they say the palate and the flavor profile is. We're going to taste it and do our own. Now, you've been tasting it while I went through, right?
So while you smell and taste, or at least smell to get caught up, just for those that aren't familiar with kind of maybe whiskey terms, often you'll hear whiskeys referred to as expressions. And what that means is, so they've taken all their barrels that are like this and they've blended it to where they think it's perfect. So an expression is almost always a blended thing rather than just coming right out of the tap. And also, while you're smelling, I just want to hit this question real quick from Big Mo. Josh Allen or Hurts rest of season. Wow. How do you choose that?
Got to see their schedules. Yeah,
both very talented. Obviously, both have the rushing they can rely on. Man, I want to say Josh Allen because I feel like Saquon is doing so well. He's taking some away from Hurts, and Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen has a case to be the MVP. I think Josh Allen is doing a lot with not as much help as some of the other guys that are being considered MVP. But that's just kind of my opinion. Thoughts?
I was you're gonna persuade me, but I was leaning. My gut was saying Hurts. I do think the Eagles have a very favorable rest of season schedule.
Okay.
I don't know what Buffalo has. Hold on.
Buffalo.
They have a harder schedule.
Do they? Okay.
They have a couple easy games in there. Both of them against New England. But
sorry, Cody.
The Eagles are set up. What are you looking at?
Okay, so look at some of his hard matchups. What kind of points is he putting up?
I know there's that.
That's the thing.
No,
like,
they played week 2 against Miami, only 11.
okay,
but he
one
did.
Bad game.
But when he played Miami has been their hardest game. The rest of the season until the end has been pretty easy for the Bills.
I still say Josh Allen. You're going with Jalen Hurts though because of the schedule. If Saquon Barkley's running at 255 yards a game, which
but
he's
even
not
with
repeat,
that,
but
even if he is, Hurts still put up a good game.
yeah, I know. He still had 2 passing touchdowns, I think it was.
This is being slow.
I was
I'm sorry,
watching
it's
you,
being
like,
slow.
You keep clicking it like go faster.
I don't
go
have
faster.
patience.
What he put up last week? 17 points. Is that what that says?
Mm-hmm.
And what the week before that? 18.
Yeah, but coming off of going all the way back to week 6, 29.86, 28.76, 41.14, 33.9, 33.68. Is this in our league? I might be looking at a quarterback favorable league.
Big Mo, I'm going Josh Allen. I think he's your MVP this year. It's him or Saquon, not Jalen Hurts. But
you have like a bias against Hurts though too.
I don't have a bias against him,
which makes me want to argue for him.
I thought they were going to regress some this year. I thought
they
Hurts
didn't.
Hurts was going to regress because of Saquon. What's he QB? What
2?
So I was wrong there. But
Allen isn't Lamar QB1?
Yeah, Lamar is. I think Allen's 3 or 4. I still say Josh Allen. I think he's playing lights out. I think he's the MVP of this league, and I think he's going to put up fantasy points. I think they're going to ride or die, fight it out. Hurts, I think I could see them running the ball more, giving it to Saquon, giving it to Kenneth Gainwell, who got some touches.
I don't know.
But you like his rest of season. That's okay.
I do.
We can differ. And Big Mo,
look at that easy schedule. They do have one hard game against Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Big Mo, you can decide which one of us to go with, but that's just.
I'm going Hurts.
You're going Hurts. All right. I'm going Josh Allen. Sorry to give you different
We can't
ideas,
agree on this one. I love Josh Allen. I'm not discrediting anything about him, but I think I would go with Hurts.
All right. There you have it. I got Josh Allen. She's got Jalen Hurts. What did you smell from the whiskey?
Something sweet.
Yeah. Definitely brown sugar.
I was just about to say it's a brown sugar. It's not caramel. It's not butterscotch. It's a brown sugar.
Yeah. Now I
sugar
get
and molasses.
I get oak and a tiny bit of smokiness as well.
Smoked oak.
But I for sure get brown sugar.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say something before we got that question, and I thought it was about the whiskey, and I don't know. I'm
sorry, I distracted you.
You did.
All right, so I already have my taste profile.
Oh, I haven't even tried it.
Yeah, I know. That's I'm trying to hint to you to get with it over there. Stop thinking about Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen and start thinking about your whiskey. When I was smelling it, I was thinking of the fact we talked about, I think it was just this week. There's these things that you put little patches on your nose.
That's what I was actually going to say.
Oh, okay.
You're in my mind. Get out of it.
It happens a lot.
No, I was thinking when I was smelling it. That's shut up. When I was smelling this, I was thinking of those things. So I think they're made for people who snore, where you put these things on each side of your nose and then you have this magnetic strip and it like pulls your nostrils out. But I was looking at.
It's not just for snoring. It's to breathe better at night, but go on.
Whichever.
Yeah.
However you want. It increases your inhalation.
Yes.
And I was
there's something Cyril can relate with.
I was looking at some ad on Facebook or Instagram took me to this store for barware, and like I don't know what I was looking at, but I was looking at bar accessories.
Mm-hmm.
And those things that I've seen for like sleeping
Yeah.
was on there for better whiskey inhalation to better
That's- you know
smell your
what?
whiskey.
That's good marketing. Because I often feel like I, could
Yeah,
use
can
that.
you imagine us sitting here with those on our nose and we're
Right before our
Nostrils
whiskey
out.
section, we just yeah.
nostrils out,
Yep.
inhaling whiskey? Just wait, people.
There's a very well followed person on Instagram.
Mhm.
Probably has YouTube as well. I'm not going to say who it is or give any hints at that, but does whiskey reviews and has a very, very small nose. Like, it's when you look at this person, it just jumps out of like, wow, their nose is kind of abnormally small. And so every time when I see him, like, I'm just like, can you really smell it? Sorry, I'm terrible. I'm getting us canceled.
Well, his surface area, their surface area of
No, face is normal size. It's the nose.
no, the
that's-
surface area in your nose for smelling.
Oh, okay. Will you taste that and build your taste profile? I got mine ready. I'm going to bring up this question from Jordan. I have Keenan Allen and Waddle on waivers right now. Who should I try and pick up? 12-man full PPR. So there's not a ton of people available that are game changers right now. I do like those. We did also give out Noah Brown as an option because he's starting to get quite a few targets. And Devon Vele was the other one we gave out, who so Noah Brown has had 6 or more targets in the last 5 of 7 games. Devon Vele just came off of a 9 target, 6 catch, 80 yards. And I think that offense is humming. So those are 2 guys that are also good options.
Okay, but let's answer.
Oh, you're answering between the.
Yeah.
I thought you were asking in addition to those.
I was for crying out loud. I'm so sorry. I understood the question.
My bad. My
I
bad.
was like, where are you going with this? And then you didn't go anywhere.
I thought you were saying like I have claims for Keenan Allen.
No,
and Waddle.
he
Who else
has-
should I look out.
For some reason, they're out on his waivers.
I would say Jalen
so-
Waddle.
I was looking at. I think I might agree with that one.
Yeah.
But I was looking at Keenan Allen because
He did have a great game last week.
he did have a great game, and the
Yeah.
Bears offense seems to be getting it together.
Yeah,
Like just watching.
booting Shane Waldron and putting
Yeah, and
DJ
watching
Moore in,
Caleb
or
Williams throw and just
Thomas
it's
Brown.
just been, I guess, yesterday was really exciting for us, even though we lost. But I do think that he has more opportunity on this offense now that we're getting our shit together.
Yeah.
Too late in the season.
I think Jalen Waddle is the answer. They have just a higher powered offense. Now ours is
They
coming
do.
together, ours being the Bears. Coming together, but I just feel like Tua and Waddle are on a better page. He's also coming off of a really big game.
Yeah,
He's had some
they're
inconsistencies, but
both pretty similar in that
Yeah.
aspect of what the last like 3 weeks or 4 weeks looks like for each of them.
I like Keenan Allen. We're Bears fans, but I do think that offense 90% of the time is going to start with DJ Moore and then Rome Odunze and then Keenan Allen.
Waddle has some really tough matchups coming up though.
But then you look at that, and then the top defenders on that team will focus on
They're going to
Tyreek.
focus on Tyreek.
So Jalen Waddle
So it
will
could
be
open him up.
Yeah.
I guess from that perspective.
And just a quick nugget about the Bears since
Nugget.
we're on it. Yeah, quick nugget. DJ Moore from week 6 to week 10 with Shane Waldron. Okay. 13 receptions, 104 yards, 0 touchdowns. The last 2 games under Thomas Brown, 14 receptions, 168 receiving yards, and a touchdown. His production is crazy. And I think you're going to continue to see him be the focal point of the offense.
Well,
Keenan Allen just happened to.
yeah, but when he is the focal point of the offense, defenses are going to try to cover him more.
You can't cover DJ Moore, though. We saw that last
I
year
know.
when Justin Fields was throwing to him, and had no other options.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like it. I'm just putting everything out there
being a
for
little
people
devil's
to.
advocate,
Well,
I
you got to
understand.
consider it.
Yeah,
You
no, I
got to
get it.
consider that the Bears offense is looking better.
I think we do both agree. Jalen Waddle, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think about Devon Vele too. I think Devon Vele is a future
So
star.
you would take him over Keenan Allen and Jalen Waddle?
No, but I'm
Okay,
saying
well
put him
then-
in as a backup waiver in case you don't get
Backup
those.
waiver, maybe.
Yeah,
but you can't say you take him over either of those options, which is when you were first answering that question, I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I know. I don't know if it's a fab bidding or waiver wire order, but I think I would go Waddle and then Keenan Allen and then Devon Bailey. So he's got Lamar, Henry, Kamara, AJ Brown, and Higgins for playoffs, has Will Dissly and Kincaid for tight end. Flex is always going to be a toss-up between Jameson Williams, Tracy Jr., Adam Thielen, MVS, and Chubb. So definitely a solid team there. Assuming, so who you dropping for your waiver? I'm just curious. I'm assuming it's MVS maybe, but just curious who you're dropping there. Like your team though, definitely good. Would you tell me what you taste? Because I already have mine.
Sorry.
Have you tasted it yet?
I did taste it, and then I forgot what I tasted.
I think you forgot. So on our nose, we got brown sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And Rico Dowdle as well. Yeah, it's hard to trust the Cowboys. Anyways.
So definitely brown sugar hits you right away on the nose.
Agreed.
It's not. So you got input from a friend of ours who's already tried it.
Yeah.
And he said this is too sweet for him. So I was expecting it to be super sweet, but I'm not getting a lot of super sweet from it.
No, I do get the brown sugar sweetness, but not overly sweet.
Not overly.
But he also said that the toasted doesn't come through really strong. And I agree with that. It's subtle.
If you're getting it for the toastedness, it's going to be lacking.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed.
But it's overall, it has a very good
balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. I like the flavor a lot.
Mm-hmm. Flavor is what I was going to say, but balance works too.
A balance of flavor. I like this a lot. I thought it was really good in the old fashioned. I think it's really good straight. I think I prefer it straight just because I think it has a lot of character to it.
Yeah. I'm starting to prefer most whiskeys just neat.
Yeah.
And because I don't know, in the old fashioned, you get that sweetness. I don't always want a sweet.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say an old fashioned is super sweet. In my opinion, they shouldn't be. When you get one and it is super sweet, I don't feel like they made it correctly. But sometimes I just don't want the sweet with the whiskey. I just want to have the whiskey.
Yeah. It's like I've seen a bunch of reels and memes and stuff, and it shows a disappointed person, and it says, when I see the bartender muddling fruit for my old fashioned and stuff. So
like a
or
muddled
they're
cherry,
pouring all the simple syrup in there.
Or when they pour grenadine in it. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
That doesn't even belong in there.
Yeah, when you get your old fashioned, it should not be red.
No.
And I feel like a lot of restaurants, it's red. Unless they have a good bar. But, your chain restaurants, like, I don't want to throw any under the bus, I guess, but what comes to mind is Applebee's. You go there, you order an old fashioned, and it's red, and you're like,
have you ordered an old fashioned from Applebee's?
Yes.
When was the last time you were at Applebee's?
Well, it's been a long time.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. But it's like those types of restaurants you go to and you get it and you go, what the fuck is this? Because this is not an old fashioned.
I can think of when we were.
I will come behind the bar and make it.
I feel like they're a chain. They're an Italian chain. Not Olive Garden. I don't remember the last time I ate at Olive Garden, but we went to an Italian restaurant recently, and recently as in within the last year, and we ordered old fashions, and they might as well have just been sugar on the rocks.
Yeah. Sugar on the rocks. Disgusting.
It was like off. It was off-putting.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
Overall, I feel like I like this whiskey.
I do too.
It's bourbon.
Yeah, it is good. I like it as well.
When I tend to prefer rye over bourbons, like this is a bourbon I like. I like it.
Yeah.
It has, because it's complex.
It is.
The reason why I tend to lean more rye versus bourbon is because ryes are complex and bourbon often, not to say that all bourbons are the same, but sometimes I feel like bourbons are lacking.
Yeah. Yeah. It can
depending.
For sure. They can be.
They can be, not all.
So I just want to give a quick shout out to the chat. Jamie, Josiah, my mom and dad, thank you for always supporting us. Serial, Nick Fortune, Conscious Machine 413. Who else did we have join us? We had Big Mo and Jordan Stenmark. Thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate it. Helps us a lot every time you show up. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe. That all helps. We're not going to have a show on Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. We will not have one on Wednesday because we will be traveling for Thanksgiving. And we will bring this to Thanksgiving. I think it's a good one. And so DM us if you have any start-sit questions. We will do some Underdog Fantasy lineups on our socials on YouTube, Insta, and Twitter. Or X, sorry. We'll also do our best bets. We'll get those out there for you because we are sitting at right around 45 units. We're up. So $10. If you were betting $10 units, we don't judge unit size, but if your unit size was $10, you'd have a nice 450 if you had followed all our bets from the start of the season. We also have a bunch of futures that we're going to revisit in the off season, see how we did there. But yeah, anything else you would like to add?
No.
Everybody have a great Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
If you want to go grab a whiskey to take, I'm sure you can find this Elijah Craig Toasted at your local liquor store.
It does go well in an old fashioned. So you're gonna make some old fashions at Thanksgiving for your family during the cocktail hour of Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Moonoff asked, what should I bring that is best for me not wanting to talk to people? Moonoff the Machine Manji. And I said, bring a really bad one because the more you drink, the more likely you are to talk to somebody. And if it's a really bad one, you're not going to drink much of it. So
just, oh my God.
Out there.
You're awful.
Murd, do you have anything else you want to add besides everybody? I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. Have safe holidays if you're traveling, obviously. And we'll be back next week.
Yeah, we'll be back next week.
All right.
Good luck, everybody.
Good luck. My old fashioned is gone. Going once, going twice.
Sold.